Alright, I'm going to have a look at a persuasive writing that a member of the Facebook group had their daughter do in response to a stimulus image that I posted a few days ago. So here's the stimulus image. I think it's a past NAPLAN stimulus. Don't waste it. Right to persuade. So yes, the writer did identify that this was a persuasive writing. A reader why something you care about should not be wasted or thrown away. Choose something that you think should be reused or recycled or kept forever. It might be a part of the environment. Now this is interesting because the writer of the piece did use environment in her persuasive essay quite a number of times, and she didn't spell it correctly. She left the N out. Very common mistake that children of this age tend to make. So it's a particularly egregious error as it's on the question. So you want to make sure that your child actually, can see when a word is in the question that they can copy it properly. Right, like a river or a mountain or a resource such as water. Might be something made by humans, such as a building or a machine. Could be something you can't see or touch, like time, a talent, a value, a tradition, or an opportunity. All right, now in picking a topic, I have to say that many children write on the environment. It seems to be a very popular topic these days. So if you wanted your writing to stand out a bit more, it might be good to pick one of these type of more abstract concepts like time, write about not wasting time, or an opportunity perhaps, write about opportunity cost. All right, and this is about the structure, which the student did quite well. All right, and it tells you, gives you a few hints on what to do. All right, we'll get to the actual piece. All right. So the title, Wasting Food. I think you should try and come up with a title that's a little bit more evocative than that. Something that'll get the reader to sort of think about what's your perspective. You could even try to use an allusion, allude to another text, to waste or not to waste. That is the question, right? And then you're showing that you know of Shakespeare. You might have read some Shakespeare. All right, so let's go into the introduction. Imagine walking in a place full of decomposed food scraps. Wouldn't it affect the environment? So there's the misspelling of environment. All right, so I thought this was quite good to start with a rhetorical question. Now this next sentence doesn't really make sense. It extremely outraging wasting food. All right, so that whole sentence needs to be rephrased. It could be something like it's extremely outrageous to waste food, with the exclamation point to emphasize that. Food is very protective for our mental and physical health. So instead of for, that should be of, right? It's protective of our mental and physical health. Smelling contaminous, very interesting terminology, shows some expertise on the subject. Food is a waste. So I'm smelling contaminous food is a waste. I'm not sure if the reasoning there is very sound. Why is smelling it a waste? And humans need food to survive. Yeah, that's a good point. All right, the benefits, very good word to use there. The benefits of saving food are food is very reliable, good word. So it is not coming out of the sky. All right, so this is an attempt at using some type of idiom, but it doesn't really fit with the point you're making. Food is very reliable, right? So it is not coming out of the sky. I kind of get the gist of it, but could be phrased better, I think. Human, all right, so that needs to be humans. Animals and nature need food to survive, or else no one would alive. So that sentence doesn't make sense either. You need another word in there. You need be, would be. It's hard to write with the mouse. Even if you don't like the food, still eat it will give energy. See, this probably needs a comma. Still eat it, it will give you energy. Right, so not a bad introduction, it's just that some of the phrasing needs to be tidied up. Right, to begin with, yeah, nothing wrong with that. You're showing you understand connectives within an essay. Food is very valuable, so it does not fall out the of sky. So that doesn't make sense. Out the of sky. That has to be rephrased. And probably no need to repeat that same idiom. This means it takes a lot. All right, good work in knowing that a lot is actually two separate words of time for food to grow, and it is very costable. So costable is not a word. So you would just go with something like expensive. It is very expensive. For example, you are growing vegetables, and after a month your vegetables have grown. All right, so I would suggest not using the same verb there. All right, so maybe you could say something like, you are growing vegetables, and after a month your vegetables have flourished. Right, and then you're showing you have a more versatile vocabulary. So the seeds of the vegetable worked hard to grow. So see, so much use of grow. Just to give food to the environment, again misspelled. And us too. Research shows food had been wasted for years. All right, you can still say food has been wasted because it's still being wasted right now. And food is definitely, good word there, good and spelled correctly, for energy. And food is definitely for energy, and our health will become lower. So this sentence doesn't make sense. All right, you need to add an adjective. Is definitely essential, something like that, for energy. And if we don't have it, our health will become lower. That comes to hunger. See, again, that phrasing is not appropriate, doesn't really make sense, and that causes death. To conclude with, so you need a comma there, all right, to conclude with, because you don't want with going into food. Food has been dependable, and it is our sustenance. All right, that's a great word. I'm not sure it is spelled correctly there, okay? It should be an E there, sustenance, and an A there, sustenance, for survival. All right, now at the start of the next paragraph, this is an interesting point to use this secondly connective. Now, while it's good that you're showing that you understand the order of an essay and the way that you'll use three reasons within your essay, I find nearly every student does this firstly, secondly, thirdly, or finally sort of routine. So if you could use some different connectives, so rather than secondly, you could use furthermore, moreover, additionally, consequently, okay, just to make your writing a little bit different to everyone else's. All right, so when food rots with other organics in landfill, see again, this needs to be phrased a little bit more clearly. It gives off methane gas. This means methane gas stronger than carbon pollution by 25 times. And again, even this should be, this produces, maybe you should say this produces methane gas, because this means is a little bit unclear in that context. Food waste can also cause infestation, great word, of rats. Probably don't use a dash there, just use a full language of rats and rodents, and causes a strong disease. Okay, that can spread illness to everyone. It also can cause a death toll. See, this point seems a little bit redundant. Doesn't seem like you really need that in there. This is a common problem for children of this age. They often just say the same thing many times, and it's not very persuasive. This can be seen in many articles. See, even this quoting of many articles, see, it's a smart reader will sort of say, this is not persuasive, right? Of saving food. In one of them, a disease can occur due to the waste. Again, the phrasing here is unclear. What are we saying? Are we saying the articles cause the disease? You're saying you read in one of them a disease can occur due to the waste food. You need to be more precise in the language you're using. We can therefore, okay, great word to use, therefore. I don't know why there's a comma there though. Food is not for wasting. So we need to say, we can therefore conclude that food is not for wasting since a disease can occur. All right, that would be a better concluding sentence to that paragraph. All right, lastly, yeah, probably nothing wrong with lastly. Maybe you could use ultimately, all right, just to be a little bit different to everyone else. Wasting food wastes resources. All right, so, and you could still try and be a little bit more technical there. You could probably say wasting food misallocates resources. When you toss out food, all right, comma, you are also wasting the resources. Yeah, it's a good point. For example, when you empty a fertilizer for birds to drink, you are also wasting the fertilizer because you may not going to use it. See, that sentence doesn't make sense because you may not going. It can't be going there. You may not be going to use it, or you just go with you may not use it. You may not use it. Also, you can waste a plastic bag. For example, you throw away, let's go to the next page. You throw away, what was the last word there? Some of these words are a little bit hard to make out. In a plastic bag. So it is proved that wasting food, see, I think writing this is also, it's redundant, it's not necessary, all right? People don't like to be told you proved something, they'll like to figure that out for themselves, all right? So it is proved that wasting food, this, if we're saying food is the subject, this needs to be wastes resources. Food wastes resources. Wasting food wastes resources. In Australia, it has happened a lot. All right, I remember we already used a lot earlier on, so perhaps, you know, try and mix up your phrasing there. It has occurred regularly. Plastic containers and bags everywhere. All right, so here's you could use a good word here. You could say plastic containers and bags have become ubiquitous. All right, ubiquitous means found everywhere. Inside has decomposed food. Yeah, inside what, right? This is not, of course I know what she means, but it's not clear, all right? Inside, you can't say inside has you need to say containers and bags full of decomposed food can be found everywhere. Every year Australians throw away so many plastic bags each year. Therefore, we can now see wasting food wastes resources. Yes, she's used the correct verb there. She said wastes resources, yet here she says waste resources. So you've got to make sure you're consistent. Right. Many people believe that it is okay to throw out food because it is organic and that all food provides compost. This needs to be provides, right? All food provides compost because food is singular. 20% of landfill is food waste, and because it is underground with many other things, yeah, I really do not like it when students use the word things because it is so vague, it has almost no meaning. That takes longer to break down. Food waste can cause methane gas, which harms the, again, environment misspelled. Compost is an unreliable thing. Yeah, you see, another thing. What would we say? It's an unreliable aspect of facet, or yeah, that's a difficult one to sort of quantify. So practice, I think you'd say something like practice. Composting is an unreliable practice or endeavor, causing chemicals to come. Right? And maybe we could be stronger with that. We could chemicals to thrive, and soil can be harmed. So let's work together to save planet Earth. All right, it's a nice strong ending. I'm not sure in an essay with if you want to use hyperbole, as in using more than one exclamation mark. So again, it seems like you're telling the reader too much what they should think. All right, so overall, I thought this was a pretty good essay if the student wrote it in 20 minutes. They've written a lot in that time. The structure is very good. They've shown knowledge of connectives. Uh, the main criticisms I have are that the topic is very generic. So most kids write about this topic if they had this subject. So you'll be competing with a lot of children who know the same things as you, right? And it's possible the markers will get a little bit tired of reading the same thing over and over and over again. So you might want to make your topic stand out a bit more, and to think about varying your vocabulary, and also to make sure that you think about proofreading your work. Okay, that's so that it actually makes sense. Because even though I understood what the student was trying to say throughout this piece, a lot of what is written doesn't grammatically make sense. All right, I hope that's some help to you.